Yo, check this out. This is Wayne Wonder, representing for Warwick Hill TV. You see the vision, don't it? See the vision. Warwick Hill TV. Keep it locked.
Now, I'm gonna tell you. We, us, as bloggers, these are the issues that we need to address. You understand what I say? You see? Set the bar for the youth, Share, like, and subscribe, and stay tuned to the channel. I don't know all this. Yes, I. Greetings once again in the mighty name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie I. And all things good and wonderful about us and amongst us. Welcome our viewers and subscribers. Viewers, if you like the content, subscribe and make it a good platform. Seen? Now, I observe a video on the internet. You know, see, and I love share them things with the item. And hopefully the item pick up the gist or the reason why I show them and don't get the wrong impression. You see? Now, my understanding now go now. You see, is that it's in a today's day and generation, with the resource at people's fingertip and things like that in terms of research and information and knowledge and things like, you know, it's becoming impossible to hide certain truth because youth and youth logically observe and, you know, work certain things out for themselves. Like I said, the opportunity and the access there, so them don't need the permission from nobody. You know, see. Now, in the video, you have a white youth where I explain the tactics and the reason for what, and the maintenance, how white supremacy is maintained, and black inequality and degradation is being also maintained. You see, now, it's a very revealing video because you get the honest, true perspective from the other side's point of view. You see, obviously this youth is either a 70s or an 80s baby. So I'm going to give you decades of, you know, tactical moves by the white community to maintain the deprivation and white supremacy. You see, so you know, it's a very deep-seated reasoning. You see, now this might not particularly have anything to do with black people other than the fact that it's a confirmation that there is a set agenda, a rule. Because if a white man who is favorable to the agenda can come out and outline it and point it out little by little, step by step to we, you see, I don't see why we should have any agency or even any black group or black people talking about let's forget it, we moan too much, we bawl too much. We not forget nothing, now we not stop bawling. You know. Still, I know say that is the reason enough for we to stay stagnated and wait upon them guy have to give you nothing. If we keep bawling, that it remain a reminder among us and to them too. That means that when we come to power, something we not forget. Because that day will come. Anyway, but play the video. Item reason again. Catch up on the flip.
Whitewashing history about racism has really started to come back and bite us in the ass. And that's why you see so many people around here having a hissy fit about what they think their kids are or what they are going to learn in their history class about racism. And they'll say things like, oh, they're just trying to make our kids feel bad for being white. Or they're trying to make our kids feel like they're born racist. And then they'll go on to explain about what we learned in school about racism and Jim Crow and slavery and all these racial topics was all true. We weren't taught anything wrong. They taught us about all that stuff. They should just keep teaching our kids the same way they taught us. There's no need to bring anything else into it. But here's the problem. Here's what we were taught. We were taught that slavery happened. Slavery was wrong. We were taught that segregation happened. Segregation was wrong. We were taught about how poorly people of color were treated. But we were taught it in a very impersonal way. And what I mean by that is in history class, whether it was in elementary school or high school, college, whatever the case may be, when I was in history class being taught about World War II, I could raise my hand and go, hey, my grandpa was in the Navy. He was in Japan. He watched the surrender of the Japanese. And my other grandpa was in the Army in Europe, and he went through Normandy and all the different battles all the way to the end. And my grandpa's brothers, they were in the service too. And all my grandma's brothers, they were in the service. And I could look at this subject in history very personally, with pride. My family was involved in it. They were a part of history. Learning about World War II, that was about us. We did that. We won the Second World War. But when you're in history class learning about slavery, Jim Crow and segregation, civil rights movement, we didn't do that. Somebody did that. Despite the fact that we are sitting in a classroom in a town that was completely segregated, where Jim Crow laws were enforced, where all the things that we're talking about, how horrible they were, happened. And they had happened 40-something, 30-something, and as little as 20-something years before we were talking about it in this class. Yet there are no hands that go up in that class that go, yeah, my grandpa's or my grandpa's brothers or sisters or grandma's brothers or sisters or their parents or any of our ancestors took part in that and supported it wholeheartedly, 100%. Absolutely not. We lived in a town that had an elementary school for black kids, but no high school. If they wanted to go to high school, the Board of Education didn't provide that opportunity for them. They had to go to another town and go to high school. They couldn't attend white churches. They all lived in the same rundown part of town. Nobody ever told us in those classes about the local newspaper's editorial opinion of Martin Luther King Jr.'s death. And that opinion was that he was a race-baiting agitator who brought about his own death because he couldn't keep his mouth shut. We were learning about these things 20 years later. Yet no one ever told us. The majority of adults you're surrounded by now, they thought this was all okay.
Yes, I. So all of them, their strategy and tactics we observe throughout film lifetime, I grew up in white community. Now, these things are things that black people always talk about and point out and admit. And no say, yeah. But we always get a fight back, a pushback from another side, the other side, that the white community and some of our black community, I tell we say, them not responsible for what happened in a slavery. None of them never owned slave. None of we was slave and all them rascal out there. As if them blind to the facts of them city I wanna have, the riches wanna have, all of it that proceeds from slavery, the brutality and the dehumanization of I and I. And we're still alive and they are right and I look on who I used and I enjoy it and I look on I discredit I bickle and I blame I for I deprivation. You know, see it, I want to educate the children them thing in a school, in a phone school, like a for them fault and them parents' fault, why them lacking certain achievement or lacking certain things and them sort of thing there. You know, see, them level a high level of psychological torture. You know, see, this is not ignorance, you know. This can't be ignorance because if you live something that happen to you in front of you every day. Seeing if every day me I walk down the road, Rasta in my shoes, and when me come back, me say 1 foot rub down far past the other. Me I go investigate that, Rasta, and wonder why. Me now just know the choice of shoes mash up, I will buy another one after. You know, I go look, you're looking at so weird, what go on here, sir? You know, see, 1 foot I bust up before the other. I want to the material. I wonder if I same material. I wonder if inferior or what. You are going to want to do that. And you come to a conclusion whether or not a manufacturer's fault, you're the way you wear it, or inferior material. And as far as the world is concerned, we are just inferior material. You know, see, and no body fault. You know, see, we not under no psychological tension or setbacks. You know, see, we now look on the facts of well, and the little white youth the way I walk with my little black child out the road as friend and shaken and really have a proper, you know, vast, you know, when they come on to resource and basic resource and access The white child have always have far more, and the parents know that. No matter how much smile with me or bum my fist and the two of them, him know. So if him pick have a better, brighter future. You know, see, why? Because you're a child white. You really feel so that your physical appearance give you the right to be more accepted than I and I. Just that alone, I prove to you, prove to the world, and everybody say you are perfectly aware of everything going on around here and you don't give a damn. You see a black man drive past now Benz and you say, yeah. You see, and you still not show him the respect like so well then he's a high achiever and he's just another, you know, gangster. You see, worse you don't know him. All when them know him, them still think him wrap up in some sort of, you know, illegality or sports. They're supposed to have the academic prowess for, you know, acquire certain things naturally. You know, see, that are the concept, the wider concept of where everybody under. People accept dog. Remember, people accept dog in them home, you know, and them can't reason with them can't talk to them, can't communicate with them and things like that. And I want to tell you, in a lot of cases, dog get more acceptance than the black man. You know, see. You know, see. Yet still, you are going to tell me, say, a human have such deficiency in terms of moods and attitude, in terms of ways. That's, you just credit him as unworthy, you know, beyond help, beyond, you know, beyond reproach, as a matter of fact. You see? But I give thanks when we hear youth like them here, I observe things from them perspective, them point of view. You know, see? And I put power to truth. You know, see? And hopefully educate even some of I and I youth them who under this neo-colonialism order, manipulation, we are talking about everything is open and even and free and available to all of us to go out there and grow and develop as well. Like, yes, it may appear so, little one. But you know what happened? You set up an institution, perfect as it is, seen, and the staff, the people them where staff it, the island of the machine is of a different persuasion than the one that you portray. Obviously, the machine is going to operate under the persuasion of the operators. You know, see? And if there's no consequence or whatever for, you know, black dehumanization, black marginalization, and type of thing, because there is none. You see, as long as the education that we were inferior still exists, because it still exists to this day, our black children never get taught that Europe built Egypt. It's being not subliminally as if white people were one responsible for the civilization that Egypt was before. And you know, even up to university standard, as the professors still indicate them where they're in them lecture, them criminal, corrupt, and something that we them know. Why would you want to be a professor and still an institute that to this day, why you know it's the truth? Why? What kind of dictatorship you under? What kind of dictatorship you could have under? What does it benefit you? And then when you grew up now as a child, from teenager's age, early adult, when you look and you see a globe, and you can work out that Egypt is still, why do you still go around and perpetuate that type of, what? You know, what makes you want to be so, I mean, you know, you have to sit back and consider what type of people educate them children, purposely educate them children wrongly with misinformation. You really have to sit back and wonder, white people do that and continue to do it even when they know the truth, because they know the benefit of what the lie do to them society. You know, see, the lie credit them with everything in terms of development and creativity, and discredit us and diminish our input. And them know that. Them know that. Yet them still run this racial fantasy and thing like that through greed and corruption. You know, see, for maintain the greed, you still, I mean, a blatant lie. Like, I mean, you can't expect anything better. Rasta, if we, as black people, not, you know, find ourselves in a Rasta, nobody not gonna find it for you. And it's all hard, it get harder and harder. You know, I wouldn't say harder and harder still, because the generation I come, I get backsteam, you know, see, with sweets and pretty talk, so they might integrate themselves, integrate them desires with white people desire, white people who already have it made, have it set, who have, you know what I say? Because again, like I say, this is the only way how you can get a bit of humanity outside of your blackness while being black, you know, see. Is by becoming members of certain group, aligning yourself with certain groups, feminism, LMNOPQ, you see, and all of them sort of group in there, and you know, you get more recognition as a human recognition than what you get in your own race, you know, as a member of your race, Rasta. You know, see, and it's the reality of this day. You know, see it, and the greed and the wannabe nature of today's, the social media nature of today's youths, where we see one raise Rasta. You know, because of this desire to be recognized and loved and adored by the Joneses. These youths nowadays chose to refuse and walk away from anything, most of them, anything that connected to the oppression that them forefathers go through. Even our youths themselves this day are denied the abuse that you know happen, but deny themselves the right for some level of redress. You see it? So our youth them essentially choose to be, you know, the cannon fodder, the bottom scrapers, and things like that of society, as long as them is being seen as part of the society. Them no mind for them role where them a get for play. And that me observe, me can't see no other way, Rasta. You see, and Babylon do what them do what them need to do for ensure that level. But it's because the white youth them not under no political correctness and no restraint whatsoever from wanting to find certain things for themselves. They might find our culture, they might find our reality. I like the youth, I find our reality when you have a lot of us who are saying, you know, let's forget it and move on. You see, but the sins of the parents always are going to come back. And no doubt, that's why them white people always have a level of detachment, emotional detachment from them elders, and I always wonder why. You see, but again, when you grow up and realize it, you have always been lied to, and nothing is real. You know, you're just a commodity or, you know, a tool to your family, to your own appearance. That's how it go. You see, them time they know you turn them back and there is no connection. It's total detachment whatsoever. Throw you in a old home and sell your house and pocket that I go gamble the money because them they don't respect the money enough to try to put it to any form of use. And that reach most old people, old white people in Britain. You know, see, and that same nature, that level that get cast over upon the black community in Britain as well. Nobody don't really have no care for the elder again too tough for them go take care of them granny until them granny pass on, you know, for them. And you know, see, no, move around, everybody want pass her off to a old age home and all of them things there and lose all, you know, connection. You know, some cases that might be better. In a lot of cases, that might be better. You know, see. But we don't see the thing up on a scale now where it just balance out with everybody, white and black, grandparents, and you know, see, the whole of just going a whole age home. Because without the emotional reason, black people just see it as, oh, the style that's how white people do it. So, yeah, one, black people that have the same reason to be that detached as the white youth do. Even though, you know, when a whole heap of white youth, the new millennials, them rebel about misinformation and badag and type of our youth, them take it up and feed themselves to and run with it like we was the one giving them misinformation too. Our youth, them a move like them a idiot. You know, see, anything where the white group say, them take time to feed themselves and apply it to feed them day to day as if, you know, see, it just bolster the white movement because it's not beneficial to you. You know, the implications no match up. You know, see, it not just, you're a fall back. And the day when you don't realize that other day there, things start to change. You know, see, and it come like, you don't even have to realize it neither. Because the white youth, them might realize it for there. Anyway, and I give thanks. Share, like, and subscribe. Rastafari.